Pry open your third eye with me, your big-headed know-it-all, polymath Scott Spacky, and guests. Change your mind, change your life. Full episodes, services, knowledge, and all you'll ever need on scottspacky.com and life-mind.com. Are you ready?
Find me where the ocean collides with the sun.
Welcome back to Pry Open Your Third Eye, where we provide knowledge and wisdom with humor and a pulse. I'm your host, big-headed know-it-all polymath Scott Spacky, and also joining me today, of course, is my lovely and smart co-host and co-producer and partner in crime, I like to say, Chloe Sempre. And today we're going to be presenting on some very specific things. And Chloe, would you like to introduce what that's going to be?
Hi, everybody. Today we're going to do the Change Your Mind, Change Your Life workshop for the Hypnotherapy edition. So we're going to have a little question and answer, back and forth, clarifying, talking about hypnotherapy.
Yeah, it's so much more than hypnotherapy, which is why I think it's important to title it as the Change Your Mind, Change Your Life and the Hypnotherapy Edition, because it's just one of the modalities that I use to counsel and advise people and change their mind and change their life. One of the modalities, a very important one, a very healthy one. And some people don't want hypnotherapy. They think it's voodoo, and that's fine. So they're not required. I like using it, and I encourage people to use it. But if they don't want to do it, we use other things. So that's the way. This is the hypnotherapy edition of Change Your Mind, Change Your Life. We'll have other ones on cognitive things. We've had some other things in the past too. So we'll begin with this statement. If change were as simple as making up your mind, we'd all be perfect, wouldn't we? If it was that simple, we have a good idea of what we want to be and how to do it. Lose weight, get fit, be more organized, don't overthink things. That's a big one that people are guilty of a lot. Be more organized, be more meditative and spiritual. We know we want to be, and we have a good idea how to do it. Eat less and work out more. Organize things and put them, categorize them and list them, and etc. Meditate, pray, all these kind of things to develop these areas of our life. And yet, when we try, we find that it seems like there's some invisible force. Again, we're not stupid people. We know what we want to be, and we know kind of how to do it. So change should be as simple as making up our minds. I know what I want to be, and I know how to do it, so I'm just going to do it. And yet, we try and try and try, and then we end up shrugging our shoulders going like, what the F? How am I back where I was? How is this not working?
So why does the mind resist all changes?
The mind resists all changes, all of them, good or bad. It doesn't know the difference, doesn't care, because it's designed that way. It's designed to protect that which you know and reject that which you don't know. It's designed to protect that which is known and reject that which is unknown. So that is the way it is designed. So it seems like our own mind is sabotaging us, and it is, but that's because it has a good agenda, it has a good intention. So why does it reject all changes, no matter what they are? Because that's what it's meant to do. That's what it's designed to do. The good news is this: just as it will protect existing behaviors, no matter what they are, from bad eating to heroin, it will also protect the good ones with the same vehemence. So once we install and create good habits and behaviors and get rid of the bad ones, it'll protect the good ones too. So it'll be hard to override those.
So what is the theory of the mind? What is the pleasure-pain principle? And let's talk a little bit about repetition and association.
The theory of the mind is, I already kind of gave some of that away. The mind's job is to protect whatever you teach it through repetition and association, which relates to the pain-pleasure principle. We're going to work backwards a little bit, reverse engineering. The pain-pleasure principle, because most people know what that is. That's kind of a common knowledge kind of thought. We are designed as human beings, in many ways, we're just animals. We're designed to pursue pleasure and avoid pain. Real simple. That's how we work. we are deep and conscious and cognizant and philosophical and all this other stuff. But when you get right down to it, we're designed to pursue pleasure and avoid pain. And that's it. So the theory of the mind is just that the subconscious mind, well, let me back up a moment. The theory of the mind is this, that your thinking and emotion process is 12% conscious mind and 88% subconscious. So when we try to make up our mind to change our life, we're using 12% of our consciousness, of our mind. That's not enough. 88% may be working against us, protecting that which is. So to change it, you got to get to 88% on board. This is where hypnotherapy is going to come in today. So the theory of the mind is just that and you can look this up pretty much, this is common knowledge, that 12% of our thinking and feeling apparatus, that's what I like to call it, our thinking and feeling apparatus is 12% conscious and 88% subconscious. We're not going to talk about the unconscious. That's unknown. There's no relevancy there. Unconscious truly, literally is unknown. You can't access, so who cares? 12% is conscious, 88% is subconscious. The subconscious mind regulates, influences, somewhat controls. I like influence and regulates all of our behaviors. So every decision we make, everything we're doing, from the type of clothes we pick out to the music we like, it aligns with our subconscious definition of what is pleasure versus pain. We create these habits, behaviors, perspectives, mentalities through the process of repetition and association. All of your behaviors, everything you are, is distilled down to this process of repetition and association. Repetition is really easy to understand. Anything you do over and over again becomes etched like a groove in a record into your consciousness. So when you do it again and again, your mind accepts it. It says, you're teaching this to me, and I'm assuming you're doing it for a good reason. And I don't care if you are or not. The bottom line is you're teaching me through the repetition. So therefore, my job is to accept that and protect it. One of the axiom things that I say within my Project Addiction video course, book, and my counseling is by the time you realize you have a bad habit or an addiction, you've had it a long time. By the time you realize it, you've had it. And so with the day that we're like, you know what? I got to stop eating donuts for breakfast. My God. By the time you realize that and you come to this conclusion, you've been doing it so long that it's already a habit, which is why we're like, why can't I just quit smoking, eating donuts, doing drugs, whatever, drinking too much? Why can't I over shopping? Why can't I just quit? It's a no-brainer. It's what I want to do. Because by the time you realize it and make that decision, by the time you make up your mind to change your life, you've been doing it so long that it's already being protected and ingrained deeply, like grooves in a record, within your consciousness. Make sense?
Too late.
Too little, too late.
Now you got to do the work.
But we're going to show today that is not the case. I'm going to show you how to unravel that and work around that to defeat it. We're going to get there. So the theory of the mind is just that. All behaviors, all mentalities, perspectives, your attitudes, all these things that you are created through the process of repetition and association. And the way the mind categorizes pleasure versus pain. It pursues pleasure and avoids pain. And how it categorizes this is real simple. That which is known is pleasure, that which is unknown is pain. So therefore, when you introduce a new idea, I don't want to eat donuts for breakfast anymore. It says, well, that's unknown to me. Therefore, that goes into the pain category, and I can't accept that. I can't support it. If you unwind it, if you teach me through repetition and association that is so, then I'll accept it. But until then, I'm not getting that memo. I'm not on board. Unless you get the subconscious mind on board, you're wasting your time. Your conscious mind, 12%, is not enough to just make up your mind and change your life.
So, what is hypnotherapy?
Hypnotherapy is the method, the process of making the unknown known to the subconscious mind. It's the backdoor access. It isn't magic. It's just common sense in many ways. It's just a system. Since your mind accepts and learns and protects behaviors through that process, repetition and association, pain and pleasure, then we want to repeat the process with new behaviors to unwind the ones we don't want and wind up the ones we do want. And we do this through that process, and hypnotherapy allows us to create these things in a subtle way. We're not using the 12% anymore. We're accessing the 88% with suggestibility. I like that way more. Hypnotherapy is a good term. Hypnosis, I'm not a hypnotist. I'm not a stage guy going to a club entertaining you. I'm a clinical hypnotherapist, qualified as a clinical. And it's a method and tool. And what it does, by creating a state of suggestibility, our subconscious mind is receptive to new ideas and perspectives, new behaviors, new attitudes. Hypnotherapy gives us access to the subconscious mind and bypasses the conscious mind. And by doing so, and I will demonstrate with some exercise, with something we're going to be talking about soon, by doing this, we're able to make the unknown, the unfamiliar, familiar to the subconscious mind. So it no longer recognizes or categorizes it as pain, but instead accepts it. In the beginning, it's like, I don't know. This is kind of new to me. We're doing this in a gradual and subtle way. We're accessing the subconscious mind and going directly to it. And it says, well, all right, I'll give it a try until it becomes more familiar with it. And I'm going to give you some examples of that are really kind of cool, especially a brand new one that came up in the last couple of days with a new client. Yeah. So there you go.
How does a suggestible state make changes possible? And is there a downside to all this?
Are you getting all spooky and sinister on me, aren't you? Is there a downside? How does suggestibility work? I'm already getting ahead of myself because I'm very thorough on my answers, because I basically already kind of answered that one. Suggestibility works by, it's not commandability, it's suggestibility. We're not telling our subconscious mind what to do. You do that, all of us, automatically, since we're children, reject anything we're told to do. Well, I was going to do it till you told me, now I'm not going to do it. We all have a natural rebellious state, right? So we want to suggest, not command. Suggestibility is just that, it's more subtle. We're not commanding the subconscious mind, which will reject that outright. It will rebel, resist, and reject. We're suggesting by gradually creating suggestions that the subconscious mind will not fear and will accept subtly, then we get access again, be able to put those in. So suggestibility works in that way. It's a subtle, gradual process, and it's accessing the subconscious. And the downside, I can't really think of any. Again, it's suggestibility, not commandability. Commandability, if you could hypnotize somebody and make them do bad things, then yes, there'd be a downside. But you can't. You can never, in a suggestible hypnotic state, be made to do anything that you're principally, morally, ethically against. Can't. So, could somebody be commanded or suggested to kill someone with hypnotherapy, with post-hypnotic suggestion? Well, sure, if they're already a psychotic killer. But it couldn't take someone that's not a psychotic killer and turn them into one. We will never do anything that we are morally, ethically, principally, spiritually, whatever, opposed to, that breaks our own code of values. So there's no downside. Matter of fact, hopefully we'll get into the chance that some of the natural side effects, we'll go and do it right now, some of the natural side effects of just being in a suggestible state by experiencing hypnotherapy, simply, no matter what we work on, even if I just induce hypnotherapy with someone and that's it, and it kept bringing them out, they will automatically, a side effect, you know how medications are, side effects may include shortness of breath and death. Hating your children and hating, and you know, but everything else will be fine. You'll get that blemish. You'll cure your psoriasis, but you may want to die all the time. That's okay. That's why I didn't do the psoriasis medication when I had it, because it does have those side effects. It turned my nose purple too. Didn't like that. So I didn't like psoriasis, but I also did not like my nose purple from medication. Anyway, so the side effects of hypnotherapy, I love these. You will naturally sleep better. Your focus will heighten and sharpen. Attention, your attention span, your focus. You'll rest better. I don't have to give post-hypnotic suggestions for these things. I will, and I do. But naturally, as to experience a suggestible state, because what happens is this: when I induce and create a suggestible state for someone, and I take them deep, or deeper than they normally are, then when they come out of suggestibility, they're less suggestible to the things that they're normally suggestible to, that stress you out, that piss you off, that irritate you, the things that overwhelm us, such as traffic or kids or whatever. All those things that wear at us is because we're suggestible to them in a negative tone. Once you experience a deeper state of suggestibility that's deliberate and come out of it, then you're less suggestible than you were before. So you have a more immune system, natural side effect.
How long does that last?
Lifelong. Now, I'm not saying that in one session, the suggestions that I provide to someone will be installed permanently and forever and change everything, and that behavior is done. I'm saying that once we do the process properly and we've gone through repetition and association, the pain pleasure principle, we use hypnotic suggestion to rearrange, replace, modify the way our mind processes these things, then it's permanent. Now, that doesn't mean we can't undo it. Certainly, if you put a gun to somebody's head and make them smoke or do heroin again, then they can and will do it. They can't override that. Your willpower, your free will is still completely intact. But for example, I had a woman that I worked with for several years. She was a regular client of mine for many, many years when I was in LA. Not because we didn't solve her issues, because we all have new ones. So my business model was not to create or continue to treat the same thing again and again and again. My business model was, you know what? If I solve these things with people, then they'll come back because I'll be the sole resource that they can rely on. So I had clients for years rather than the standard 6 sessions that most therapists get. And I'm not a therapist, I'm a hypnotherapist and I'm a counselor. That because we all have more things we want to improve. And when you have somebody that can teach you and guide you and empower you to do it, then people come back. So this woman and I worked together for many, many years. We're good friends. I mean, we knew each other very well. We've known each other for a long time. And we haven't spoke for many, many years since my accident and all that stuff. And she lives now in Florida. Where is it? Kentucky now. And I'm, of course, in California. So she reached out to me a little while ago about some things that she wanted to work on. And I suggested hypnotherapy to enhance and augment the work that we were doing cognitively. And I was able to, through post-hypnotic suggestion, because her subconscious mind is already familiar with me in this state, that I was able to, I didn't have to do a formal induction. I do a formal induction one time. And then from then on, I can have that person re-enter hypnosis with me lifelong. And I can access and awaken and reawaken and resharpen the suggestions that I gave to her or anyone from years ago, because they're still there. You are the sum total of every thought, experience, and event of your lifetime. That's who and what you are. Your memory, it's all stored in there. So we can access this. So whatever's in there, we can bring to the surface. So it's lifelong.
Does it work on everybody or anybody?
Yes, if it's done right. Everyone is suggestible. Everyone will benefit. Various degrees, various on the length, or we could say number of sessions. Everyone is suggestible if you know their suggestibility type. Long time ago, back in the 50s, 40s, etc., it was assumed, and even now you Google it and it'll come up that way. It'll say that only 10% of the population is hypnotizable. That was believed for a long time. Milton Erickson, a brilliant man, could hypnotize anybody. The guy was bizarre. The guy was superhuman. And when they asked him how and why he was able to do this when nobody else could, he was basically like, I can't tell you, I make it up as I go. It's not like a science. I literally make it up as I go along. NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, is what can emerge from Ericksonian techniques and methods. Personally, I don't see it quite the same way. NLP is okay to me. It has some good benefit, but it doesn't have the power. I think it's overtaught. I think it's overemphasized. I don't think it doesn't work on me, and it doesn't work on a lot of people. It'll work on the 10%. Really great. The difference is Milton Erickson, his intuitive ability and skill and his wisdom, he was able to determine different types of suggestibility with people. In the 80s, John Kappas, who I learned from, went even further. He was able to define it and break it down and to say and realize that there's two different types of suggestibility, literal and inferential, which you and I went over in our EMP episodes. Literal and inferential. If you know, so 10% of the population is somnambulists. They go into the deep state trance. You snap your fingers in it, literally out. However, somnambulists are only less than 10% of the population. And I've had them, and it's spooky. Like the first time I had a somnambulist, snapped my finger, they went out like that. I was like, wow, that's like movie shit, man. That's cool. Totally surprised me. I was like, wonder what I can make him do. It's tempting, the cluck like a chicken and all that stuff. It's tempting. And so somnambulists are literally inferential at a high level. So you can't snap your fingers. They will go to sleep, all that kind of stuff. They will follow the hypnotic commands, etc., suggestions, etc., in a literal sense. But they're a small part of the population. The other type is inferential. It's more subtle. It's not as deep, and they're not somnambulists. Most inferentials are not somnambulists. So we all have a combination of both types of suggestibility, literal and inferential, by varying percentages. So it's up to me. If I know someone's suggestibility, level and type, then I can hypnotize anyone. I can use suggestibility with anyone. As an experienced professional that's been doing it a long, long time, I am an absolute expert. I can identify someone's suggestibility type and ratio very, very quickly, usually within moments. Sometimes just by looking at them. I can get a pretty good sense that by looking at this was the kind of thing that Erickson did, and Kappas too. So I learned from them, and I stood on the shoulders of giants. Kappas was able to take what Erickson did and go even further because he stood on his shoulders. I'm able to take what they did, I think, and go even further because I stood on both their shoulders. So everyone is hypnotizable and suggestible if you know how to do it and which one they are. And what I can do, and I often do with clients, is I teach them about suggestibility so they can understand it themselves. So they can use it in their own life for themselves and other people.
So, what is the difference between self-hypnosis and auto-hypnosis?
Self-hypnosis is kind of easy to understand. It's when you do it to yourself. An auto-hypnosis is when you have an outside operator such as myself. The problem, if we can say that, both are very effective. Whichever one you apply properly, with the right suggestibility and the right suggestions, if you do it all properly, then they're both equally as effective. However, remember when we go back to the beginning of this, and I said that your subconscious mind's job is to protect that which you've taught it. It doesn't know the difference between good or bad. So therefore, it's going to reject anything that's new. That's its job. We fear the unknown, and we embrace the familiar. That's our comfort zone. So the downside is one of the ways your subconscious mind will protect an existing behavior, such as smoking or donut eating or whatever that you want to get rid of, that you're using hypnosis to get rid of, is it's going to influence the suggestions, the induction, and the process that you're using to sabotage it. It knows what you're doing. It's your subconscious mind. It's 80%. It knows everything. It's virtually omniscient with you. It knows you better than you know yourself, for sure. So when we are doing self-hypnosis on our own, without properly being trained, we don't know what we're doing. That's number one. Number two, even if we do know what we're doing, even if we study and learn it, the method, suggestions, the style that we use is going to be influenced by our subconscious mind, whose job it is to protect which is already in place. Right? So it is more than advised. I think it's fairly essential. If you want to do self-hypnosis, then first work with an auto-hypnotherapist who can induce hypnosis properly, objectively, rather than being influenced by your subconscious mind. They're on the outside looking in. And I will create suggestions that are immune to your subconscious sabotage because I'm not in there. And I can see them as a professional, as a trained, skilled practitioner. I can see them and I know how to avoid them. This way, the induction is better, deeper, and longer lasting, more effective, and the suggestions that are being given are customized for you. So your mind will accept them rather than reject them. And then I will train people for self-hypnosis. I encourage, more than encourage. So you want to get the most out of your money and your time with me? Then I will give them self-hypnosis techniques and practices, and I'll have them to do it once or two or three times a week. And I'll give them the formula for it. When they use, basically what we're doing is we're piggybacking on top of the auto-hypnosis, capitalizing on that, using post-hypnotic suggestion for them to re-enter the state on their own. And before they use any affirmations, visualizations, or suggestions for themselves, I ask them to review it because I will see the sabotage and I'll be able to kind of refine them and polish them and take up the couple little things that might undo it and add little things here and there that polish them and make them more effective. Make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. So let's pause for a second from the questions about hypnotherapy.
Mention this podcast episode. Enjoy a free session to discuss what you would like to change and improve. I'll give you invaluable insights on what methods and approaches you can consider to change your mind and change your life. Jump over to life-mind.com and set it up. That's life-mind.com.
So let's pause for a second from the questions about hypnotherapy and just review why and what makes you qualified to do all this. And I have your qualifications.
Because I know more than you do. And that little joke there is part of what's wrong with so much of the world today, is that I always said I never have to be the smartest person in the world. I'm only going to be the smartest person in the room. And my little joke that I don't say often so much out loud is that usually in today's culture, that's not the hardest thing to do. Be the smartest guy in the room. So I don't have to be the smartest guy in the world. I have to know everything. I simply need to be the smartest guy in the room.
That being said,
people get misled by so much that's online now because they don't know if these people have credentials, they're authorized, if they know what they're doing, if they're qualified to say what they're saying. They know more than you, or at least they seem to. So much of my career, so much, it's painful, like I'm holding back tears. So much of my career is undoing what they think is right, that they were taught by therapists, by doctors, by media. When I say media, I don't mean Facebook and all that and commercials. I'm saying the population at large, the brainwashing conditioning that we receive from everything. So much of my career and time with clients is to undo what they think they know first before I can redo what they need to know. So my credentials and qualifications, you have those in front of you. I don't have them in front of me. So, and I can rattle them off, but it's quite a list. And here's the thing is I don't want to sound like a big braggart. The reason I think it's important, what I used to call the funny papers on my wall in my office. One section of my office wall that had all my credentials, all my certifications, my awards. And I put them all in one spot. So that anybody wanted to see them, they could see them. As a professional, I'm kind of obligated to do that. And it's not a bragging thing. I want people to know that I know what I'm talking about, that I'm trained and I'm experienced and I'm educated, that I'm not just touting off my own perspectives, that I'm trained, experienced, and educated. And this way, they can have confidence. I mean, I don't know about you, but when I go to a doctor, I'd like to see something on the wall. I want to know that you at least graduated college. I mean, holy shit, you're going to cut my body open. I want to know who you are. Look them up, vet them out, you know? So that's what this is kind of about, is I want people to know that when I'm talking about these things, I'm not making it up. I'm trained and educated. So what are they? What are my qualifications?
You are a clinically certified with California Board of Behavioral Science private practice since 2005.
Let me modify that. The Board of Behavioral Science, I got to change that on my flyers too. The Board of Behavioral Science in California is not the certifying or authorizing body. What they are is a resource that governs and regulates the helping professional industries. Okay, so they don't certify me. I mistyped that. I am certified with and registered with the Board of Behavioral Sciences. So you can look me up in there. And that's the regulating body within the local government that regulates that. So if there's a problem, somebody's doing something immoral or whatever else, that's where you go. So if you want to see if their credentials are up to date, who they are, what they are, if they're legit, then you can use Board of Behavioral Science to do that. So that's where I'm listed. Now, clinical, as it says, clinical hypnotherapist, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, clinically behavioral science.
Okay, yeah, go ahead and go through the list. Go on.
You were Counselor of the Year twice through the California State Legislature. You're an addictive specialist and innovator. You work with severe disorders. You do self-improvement, relationships, and family, and for people of all ages. You work with sleep disorders, weight and fitness, smoking, and addiction.
Let me pause a moment on that one. Sleep disorders, sleep issues. I can tell you that a large percentage of clients that come to me for anxiety, depression, or anything, fitness, wellness, one of the first things I'll ask is, how do you sleep? And I'll kind of go down that rabbit hole a little bit with them. Because if I find, which I usually do, that they don't have great, terrific, healthy, wellness sleeping habits and rituals and routines, then I will offer to work on that. Usually people are like, absolutely, I want to sleep better. And either the other presenting issue will go away entirely or it will be reduced significantly. So anxiety, depression, classic example. A large percent of the people that come to me, if I fix their sleeping, makes those two things go away completely, because they're actually being caused by the lack of the ability to process and cope with things because of a lack of sleep, even though they don't constantly are aware of it. They feel fine, but that's because they've been conditioned to run on less sleep. And it's not about quantity, it's about quality of sleep. So my sleep, I'm a sleep specialist. And the beauty is that at the very least, if I simply improve someone's sleep 9 times out of 10, they'll automatically reduce the other issues that they have. Go on touting my accolades.
Well, you work in a sliding scale. You do offer some insurance that's accepted. You work in live sessions in person and also online. I've always done online. I've never met you in person. I've been working with you for over 2 years.
Yeah.
You do counsel, you do study, you've created videos. There's a whole cumulative of material to build towards your...
I'm not only a big-headed know-it-all, I'm a big mouth. Yes, I give away the store. I mean, I don't know when to not teach, because that's what I love to do. I simply want to give people knowledge. I simply want to empower them. And so most people in the helping profession, they're the opposite. They dole things out. The axiom within the medical empire, they won't say it out loud, but I know this is true, is there's no money in curing a disease or a disorder or problem. There's only money in treating it. So all the medication, all that crap is not. Even if they could cure cancer, the conspiracy theory is they wouldn't if they could, because there's no revenue in that. Repeat business. As I mentioned, my repeat business has been, if I solve problems, then people will come back for more because they're going to have other things to do. And let's say I solve all their problems, no pathologies anymore, which I can do. I can help them with that. Not me, they will do that. Then we can work on just becoming bigger, grander people. If I solve somebody's addiction, well, now we can work on who you're going to be, who you want to be. And that's the beauty of my career, is that I look at everything that's presented to me, like addiction or anxiety, depression, as a stepping stone. If we treat this, then it opens up all these other possible things that you want to become.
So you do as well private mentoring, and you help folks with their direction and their purpose in life. And
I would say in many ways, those sections, the less clinical areas, ultimately, that's what I exist for. All the other stuff we're dealing with, anxiety, depression, addiction, bad habits, behaviors, weight loss, etc. We're simply trying to get those out of the way so we can develop who we want to be, right? Mm-hmm. I can't focus on becoming smarter or deeper or better as a human or spiritual, whatever, because right now I got to focus on my health. I get my head right. I'm depressed. I'm anxious. I don't eat right. I'm not well, So these things to me are simply, let's get those out of the way. Then if you want, then you have access to anything you want to be.
So you have this clinical side to you, but in addition to that, there's these other credentials that weave in and work with everything that you do. And that is that you are a bhakti yogi. You're a master alchemist, a third degree ceremonial magi. You've done Kundalini and Tantra. You can do meditation instructions. You've studied theology, religion, and path work. You've studied extensively mystical modalities of tarot, astrology, numerology, the I Ching, and Kabbalah, tree of life. You use all of these modalities to create whole life readings, and also for meditation, both passive and active. And in addition to all that, you've created a whole series of workbooks, a whole series of workshops and video courses that cover most, if not all, of these subject matters.
I'm a busy motherfucker, ain't I?
Yeah.
Yeah, I am. And there's the big-headed know-it-all polymath thing coming in that I like to share it. And I want people to know, like the workshop, here's a little note. We're doing this episode now because you and I both, I did this workshop live at the Aptos Library last week, and you and I both forgot to push fucking record. And so the entire thing, it records on, right? Okay, it is on. Thank God. So the entire workshop was perfect. Like, I felt great. We had a great workshop. We addressed every topic. It was in dynamic. Everyone loved it. And it never recorded. So that's why we're doing this. Many people in the room, about 15 people showed up. We had about 4 or 5 people online. And many people come to see me and have no interest whatsoever in spiritual things. And that's fine. I can keep it completely separate. Matter of fact, I've had many clients throughout my career that don't even know I do spiritual things. I have many people that come to me for spiritual things that don't even know I do anything else. I think you came to me more for mystical kind of things. And I don't think you knew that I was a hypnotherapist and a counselor and behavioral specialist. So ideally, as you've seen in our work together, eventually they merge. Eventually, we do spend some time addressing the behavioral, the worldly phenomena, things that were going on with us to become better people and become more sharper and aware. And we combine them. So it's up to the person, whatever they want. If If someone wants spiritual things and hypnotherapy, that's great. If they don't, if that's forbidden for them, they don't want it for whatever reason, I'm okay with that too. All roads lead to Rome. One way or the other, I want to help you get to where you want to be. That's not for me to decide. Where do you want to be? What do you want to be? I'll help you figure that out if you don't know. Absolutely. Help you lead you there. Not tell you what I think you should be. I'll help you lead you to the decisions of what you want to be. And my job is simply take you there. I'm like a GPS. I'm like a roadmap. I'm simply here to lead you and guide you to where you are, from where you are to where you want to be. And whether that's clinical modalities such as ERT or motivational interviewing and all those things that I love so much, or hypnotherapy, or spiritual things such as mysticism. Yeah, I'm a master alchemist. And I mean, I did a course with a guy that he is probably Hermes himself reincarnated. I don't know. He's absolutely brilliant. And so I take those things very seriously as well. And I love them all, but I can also keep them completely separate.
I'm a big fan of integration.
Matter of fact, real quick, we have, and I'll put these up on the video here. We did the next 2 days after the hypnotherapy workshop that we did at the library. I had to do another one scheduled for people that couldn't make the first one, so I usually do 2 back to back. People that can make on a weekday or a weekend. And no one signed up for the weekend one. I had the room rented. So I was like, you know what? And I asked everybody at the workshop, I said, hey, would you guys like to continue on Saturday? And if so, what topic? It's up to you. And everybody, the unanimous vote, not unanimous, but the majority voted on regression. Past life regression primarily. So I did regression the next 2 days later, and yet I already had a formal regression session workshop scheduled for, this is the June 20th, for July 28th. And I'll put this up there. So this covers both regression, this life or past life. Now, you don't need to believe in or need to adhere to reincarnation theories or anything like that to benefit from it. The bottom line is whatever we regress to access is stuff that our mind is trying to get us to know. So it's a wonderful process. And we did that workshop kind of more spontaneously on Saturday, 2 days later, and it was phenomenal. It was really, and that is recorded. I remember to push record. You helped me remember on that one. And that's going to be posted as well. So that's all done, and barely any editing even needed to be done. In addition to that, so there's the past life regression one. I'll put that up on the screen here. And then on July 16th, in a couple of weeks, we have the Tarot and the Tree of Life workshop. This is phenomenal. So this is an opportunity to see these are not 2 systems, but one system in 2 forms. Kabbalah's Tree of Life and Tarot. I'm not going to teach about fortune telling and psychic phenomena. I'm going to teach you how to use these as tools for spiritual development, which is what they're designed for. Ancient system for just that. I've been teaching these workshops for a long, long time. I use them separately, Kabbalah workshop and Tarot workshops. And of course, I have these workbooks from them that I would give and sell at the workshops themselves, which you have both of. I'm creating for this workshop, the first time that I'm going to do Kabbalah and Tarot at the same time in one workshop. And I'm so excited about that. And so what I've done is I've taken these 2 books and I've created one book. So one edition has both books now, which is the way they should be. And the difference is when you get the new book, you have Tarot on the front and you open it from left to right, like you do any book. But to be traditional with the Hebrew style, the Kabbalah, the Judaic form of mysticism, you turn it over and it's there opening from right to left because they read backwards. So one workbook, both of them are going to be in there. And there's a bridge in between that tells you how they're connected. And they both do that along the way too. So that's very, very exciting. Those workshops are coming up. Sign up and stand by for them.
Yeah. I am a big fan of integrating different processes, and so I think what I've really appreciated in working with you is just that. I did come to you for mystical purposes to begin with. I was just curious.
Tree of Life, I think it was.
I was curious in the Tree of Life. There's a lot of information out there, and I needed something that was succinct, wasn't convoluted, wasn't a strange cult, wasn't any sort of thing that was like just
You
like,
don't think
what am I
my
dealing
cult
with?
is strange? I'll have to weird it up a little bit.
Like pretending to not be a cult. How about that?
Yeah.
Versus saying, "Hey, join my cult." Um, so I've appreciated that. I really like the layers, and I like that we can separate different things. We can say, okay, today we're going to work on this, and this is under the clinical areas of things. This is behavioral health. This is this, and sometimes it's mystical, sometimes it's spiritual, sometimes it's parenting, and sometimes we weave them all together.
Yeah.
That's the way I really like to work and function. That's the way I am. But sometimes it's really valuable to separate them out. And so I've appreciated that in our time together.
Thank you. Yeah, when I announced the option for a second workshop to the group at the Aptos Library, and everybody wanted another one. Nobody could make it the next day, the 2 days later, but the people that did, again, the vote was, what topic do you want? And there was a few people in the room at the Aptos Library for hypnotherapy that wanted nothing to do with passive regression. They weren't interested at all. They weren't against it. They just had no interest in it. And many people, that's exclusively what they want. They came to the hypnotherapy workshop because of that. So, again, yes, to each their own, whatever we want to do. And yeah, I think that the way I present, and listen, 2 people came to the regression workshop. That one of them was the woman at the hypnotherapy one that said she wanted nothing to do with it. She wasn't there for that at all. And she came and she participated, had a great time, because as I said to her, I said, look, it's not going to be some kind of mystical adventure. I'm going to present you the value of regression. And whether it's past life or current life, the bottom line is a therapeutic tool to be able to resolve things, to find closure and find peace. So whether you believe in reincarnation or not doesn't matter. Whatever you can dive into, use this as a meditation, as an imaginative technique.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's get back a little bit to hypnotherapy.
All right.
Got a few more questions to clarify about that. And some of these things we have already gone over. So, as everything is constantly integrating anyway. But to start off with, how do visualizations and affirmations work?
They're essential tools in hypnotherapy and cognitive training. Essential. However, they also can make things way worse if they're not done properly. Again, self-hypnosis, auto-hypnosis, suggestions. If you do it properly, it's a game-changing tool. And it's very simple to use if you know it properly. It doesn't take a lifetime to study. Affirmations and visualizations, same thing. They're essential tools. But if you don't use them properly, you can make things way worse. The generic mentality for these 2 tools is to say positive things. It's only going to transform you, make you magical. That old thing that came out, I guess it was the 80s or 90s, The Secret. Personally, I don't want to offend anybody, but this is part open your third eye. I say what the hell I want to say, and I think it was complete crap. I watched the video, I watched the movie, read some of the book, and I got nothing out. I was like, and as a professional, I'm like, this is misleading. It's basically think whatever you want. You can become that by thinking about it. That's kind of the distilled version of that. So I think it's a process, and that is the danger of using visualization and affirmations improperly. In my slideshow and in my workshop on this, I used to have a lot of fun with this. There was a cartoon, Bugs Bunny cartoon, where Elmer Fudd was hypnotized. Okay? And he was walking around saying, my name is Elmer Fudd. I'm a millionaire. I own a mansion and a yacht. And it was kind of funny. I put some of my slideshow when I would give this presentation and about affirmations. No, you're not. You're not a millionaire. You don't own a yacht. And if you say that stuff, your subconscious mind is going to say, that's bullshit. Not only are you lying to me, but I'm not going to believe anything else you say now. Your credibility is going down the toilet. In the most simplest way, I'll give you an example how to reform that. My name is Elmer Fudd. And while I may not be a millionaire and own a mansion and a yacht, I'm working on it. And I can become a millionaire. and own a mansion and a yacht. If I work hard, and I am starting to work sharp and smart and safe to do just that. There you go. So it's a little bit more wordy, but not too much. And I went from I am this to I'm becoming this. And my subconscious mind, your subconscious mind, will say, if you say I am this, a millionaire, mansion, and a yacht, it says, no, you're not. I'm not fucking stupid. I know you better than you do. But if you say I'm becoming this, subconscious mind says, no. Well, I can't say no. I mean, maybe you are. So it allows us access. So it's very important when I'm working with people, once again, as I mentioned earlier about suggestibility and self-hypnosis, is that I want to participate. I ask them, submit them to me, and then I'll polish them and clean them and say, go use these. They'll see the difference. And every time we do this, they learn how to do it. So within a few efforts of this, I've taught them, I've trained them how to do it on their own.
Just a critical couple of changes.
Subtle, tiny fine-tuning, I say. Refining, fine-tuning. Literally, when people are giving me their affirmations, I will teach them how to do that before bed as they fall asleep. They're very powerful. I use them too. Create my practice with them. And the differences are so tiny and subtle. By rearranging a word or two, adding a word or taking a word out, I see the sabotage. I see, when I point out to them, they're like, oh my God, like that's straight out sabotage. Like that's going to completely undo it. But they couldn't see it. Why? Because their subconscious mind, whose job is to protect that which is familiar, which is already there. So it's influencing this.
Can hypnotherapy solve anything?
Yes and no. It can be applied productively, powerfully, and usefully to everything and anything, including heroin addiction, benzo addiction, which to me is way worse than you give me the two to treat. I'll take a heroin client any day of the week compared to a benzo. Benzo is far more severe, and you can die from that shit. Another story, another time. Hypnotherapy is a game changer. It makes the impossible possible. So yes, it can solve anything. And yet, no, it doesn't solve anything. It empowers you to be able to solve it. Hypnotherapy does not solve anything. If I have somebody come to me, which I have many times, and they say they want to run a marathon. They want to run a marathon or half marathon, and they have no experience. They're not in shape. Hypnotherapy is going to like, poof, now you can run a marathon. You still got to put on your shoes, get some granola bars, train a little bit, hydrate, get out the door, and put one foot in front of the other. But when you would hit the wall, the obstacles, when you would talk yourself out of it, so to speak, when you made up your mind to change and you couldn't do it, and you repeated, go back to old patterns. Hypnotherapy is making the impossible possible, making you able to do what you couldn't do before. So you're the one solving it. Hypnotherapy is not solving anything. So no, it doesn't solve anything. And yes, you're able to solve it now because hypnotherapy is empowering you to do it. With cognitive training, along with hypnotherapy suggestions, we got double whammy. We're coming at it from both ends. And so it allows you to solve it.
That's key. What are the two types of suggestibility? We did go over this a little bit earlier when we were talking about some suggestibility.
Yeah, about who is hypnotizable and what is, yeah. So we'll recap just briefly on that then. Yes, it's inferential and literal. And literal is real simple. It is what it is. What time is dinner? A literal question. Dinner's at 6 p.m. A literal answer. Inferential. Hey, what time do you want to have dinner? Or when do you want to have dinner? That's rather than inferential, not quite as literal as what time. Around 8, an inferential answer. It's open to interpretation somewhat. Neither one is wrong or better. It's going to sound on paper like literal is the sharper and smarter way to go. It's not. It doesn't matter if even if it was. Everyone is a mix of both. People are dominated by one or the other. And you can't change that too much. It's hard to change. And I can rearrange for people over time. Most of the communication, arguments, conflicts, misunderstandings that we have is caused by differences in suggestibility between two people. Because God loves irony, opposites attract. Inferentials are attracted to literals and vice versa, which cause more problems. It's like you're speaking a different language because you are. I can't remember who said this, and I repeat it all the time. It is never enough to be understood. It's far more important to not be misunderstood. That is suggestibility. The types. When you speak literal to an inferential person, you're going to get confused answers, and it's going to cause tension. If you speak inferentially to a literal person, it's going to cause tension. When you learn, which I teach people quickly and easily, the difference between the two and how to apply it, how to identify which somebody is. And again, as I'm working with couples that are coming with broken marriages and on the phrase of dissolution and divorce, I teach them within a single session, begin to teach them suggestibility, inferential and literal, and they're like, "Oh my God, like that's why I can't stand the son of a bitch and can't get along," and it rearranges almost instantly overnight. It makes it so we can tolerate, understand the perspective, and see through it and work around it. Classic example. Oh, well, I want to go into that. We won't have time for that today. So yeah, there's two different types, and we know what they are. If we apply the right suggestibility to the right person, then we're going to have absolute success. Easy going.
So then how do physical and emotional sexuals play a role in hypnotherapy?
For me, as an auto-hypnotherapist and as a counselor and as a denizen of the earth, citizen of the earth, it's essential. Understanding physical and emotional sexuality, personality type, is far more simple than the Myers-Briggs ENTP, blah, 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 blah. I don't need all that crap. It's pretty accurate, but it's too convoluted and there's a way simplified version, and it's far more accurate. So we won't go into that here because you and I did, of course, 4 to 6 episodes on this very topic. We've covered it widely. And so you can watch the ENP or listen to the ENP podcast episodes that cover this entire topic. To me, they're vital. Most people don't know it who are hypnotherapists. So for me, it's vital. It goes into suggestibility. So it's not required to be able to solve things with hypnotherapy or other counseling methods, but it saves, I can get people farther and faster by using it. Massively so. It rewrites and rearranges everything the way you perceive things as you learned it. Yes or no, and be honest. Since then, do you see people and begin to categorize them as one or the other and be able to get along? Does it make life smoother?
Yeah. Short answer is yes.
You can't really avoid it anymore. Once you learn it, everyone starts to go into this category of whether they're emotional or physical. And when you do this, it's fun and it's enlightening, and you're like, you know what? I can navigate through this. The person I'm not getting along with at the grocery store or whatever, that we're having a misunderstanding, watch me navigate through this because I know where they're coming from. I know what motivates them.
I think it allows a little bit more of perspective and grace to be applied in dynamics instead of why isn't everybody just like me?
Yeah, which is what we're thinking all the time, whether we realize or acknowledge it or not. We're all thinking like, what is wrong with this person? Why can't they understand what I'm saying? Like, and what we're really saying, the translation of that is inwardly is, why aren't they like me? My way is correct, your way is wrong because it's not my way. And that's natural. That's how we're designed. So we can't go into EMP here in this kind of brief episode on these areas, but I encourage to watch and listen to the EMP episodes that we did. They're wonderful. They're great. We cover a lot of ground. And the answer to the question is, for me, it's essential. I absolutely capitalize it. Whether I teach it to somebody else or not, I'm using it all the time, with everybody and everything.
What are post-hypnotic suggestions and how are they used?
When I have somebody in a suggestible state, post-hypnotic suggestion, of course, what we see, like what we're familiar with, and every time somebody snaps their fingers, you will cluck like a chicken, right? That kind of thing. And so we're giving post-hypnotic suggestions, things that will play out with certain cues and triggers for later. So that's what they are. And how they work is exactly that. While someone is in a suggestible state, I'm giving them post-hypnotic suggestions to re-enter hypnosis, to be able to sleep better, to organize their thoughts. And I had a client just yesterday that came to me for an ADD problems, ADD issues. And she's seeing a difference overnight. Her organization skills, they're not done. I'm simply saying she's seeing a difference in one session. She feels more sharp. She feels more empowered. And so this through post-hypnotic suggestions. I have given her cues. When you wake up in the morning and this occurs, I ask her what her routines are. When you wake up in the morning, what you see, and all this kind of stuff. I'm using these, and I'm saying when these, I'm reassociating. I'm saying when these occur now, you're going to think this way rather than what you used to think. I'm redirecting it. So post-hypnotic suggestions are just that, to be able to install and upload suggestions for people that are cued by our regular everyday kind of experiences that activate them so they kind of happen on their own.
Mm-hmm. Well, I asked this question earlier out of order because I was curious myself about how long does hypnotherapy last. But so we did address that in terms of it being this lifelong. But
yeah,
with that being said, and you just mentioned that you see overnight a couple of changes starting to shift through one session. Well, how many sessions are needed to really create that lifelong lasting effect?
it does, of course, depend on the behavior. Two main factors of that. How long has somebody's behavior been there, and how severe is it? If somebody just started smoking a week ago, well, then it's going to be a lot easier for an animal to work with. If somebody's been smoking for 30 years, then I've got a lot to unwind. Through repetition and association, it's deeply ingrained. So that has some influence tremendously on how many sessions it might take and how soon we can quickly see dramatic differences. It also depends on their participation. If they resist, shut down, deliberately try to, and I see it happen all the time, like, why did you pay money to come here when you're literally closed up? Why would you do that? Relax, let this thing flow and enjoy it. If for no other reason, just relax and enjoy it and let it happen, and you'll see the difference. So, for example, my smoking cessation program and process is 6 sessions with one follow-up, so technically 7. And it's guaranteed. My sleep solution, that's a video course, and I can do with clients live. For people that can't afford to work, they can buy this thing and do the video course with hypnotherapy. That, I think, is 8 sessions, and it's guaranteed as well. My addiction course includes hypnotherapy, but many people don't use that because it's addiction, it's a whole different animal. And that is 3 months. I mean, that is a 110-day treatment program, and it's very intense. It's top tier. So it varies from behavior to behavior, varies from person to person to some degree. But there is, within one session, I will share with a client, which we're not supposed to do, it's bad for business. I'll share them what the prognosis is, what the outcome should be expected. This man that came to me the other day with a fear of heights, technically it was for fear of flying. And then we found out, talking more, there was really actually a fear of heights. Okay? And he's doing the work. He's doing the exercise that I gave him. And he's responding to the hypnotherapy in a big way, immediately. And so I said to him in our first session, I said, I'm going to break the rule here. I'm going to tell you what to expect. I think that whether it's completely resolved or not, you're going to see substantial, permanent shifts in this within 6 sessions. I suggest you follow through. I'm not going to sell you a bill of goods and tell you it's going to be 100, or I'm going to say I don't know. I think you have a right to know that. We're all curious. How much am I going to spend on this? How much time? We all want to know that. And to say I can't tell you anything like doctors do, I think that's, you better figure it out. I have an obligation to give an answer to that. So it varies from person to person. Once I meet them and know about the behavior, then I can definitely give a roundabout prognosis of what they should expect. It's knowable. It is knowable.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What is induction and how is it done?
Induction, hypnotic induction, is the process of taking somebody from a 12% cognizant, conscious state of awareness to a suggestible state. We induce hypnosis. We go through the induction process. Now, stage hypnotherapy, hypnosis, they don't hypnotherapy, it's not hypnotherapy, sorry. Hypnosis is they will ask people in the audience already to close their eyes, and they'll give certain tests. They make it funny. They give them things to do, and they're watching how they react. And they're finding the person that's somnambulist that is responding to literal suggestibility. They don't understand inferential, most of them, because they're entertainers. But they're finding the people that are able to recognize, as I can, instantly, who is somnambulistic and who is literal suggestible. That's what I want on stage. They're going to give a great show. Inferentials, they're kind of like resisting a little bit, and it's a little bit more tricky. So the induction process is to transition from cognizant consciousness to suggestible consciousness, to cause the conscious 12% to go dormant and to activate and have access to the subconscious 88%. So when we say deep sleep, that's not really a sleep. Everyone but the somnambulist will be able to hear and pay attention and retain every moment of what they're experiencing and be able to think about and process it. The man that I had here the other day in my home office, he started smiling during the induction to some point where he was almost giggling. And I had to ask him, like, what are you smiling at? I had to like break the pace a little bit. And I said, and he goes, and his arm's going up. I'm doing the arm rising induction. And he's like, this is a trip, man. He's like, this is happening. Like this is really, like, so he was enjoying it, you know? So he's totally aware. We're having a conversation about it. So the induction is just that. I'm creating a state of suggestibility to someone with certain methods and techniques that are reliable. And it varies from person to person. I've got to customize it very quickly. I also had the day before this man who went easy, smoothly, and saw instant results. Had another person the day before that was resistant to all of it. And she is thinking that I'm not doing a great job. And I'm thinking, no, because you're fighting it. Like she's literally trying, and she's not totally aware of it. So the induction process is to shift the conscious to the conscious mind to a dormant state and have access to the subconscious mind, which can be done with everybody and anybody if they just follow along, and it happens. So whether this one realized it or not yet, and I guarantee, she will and has already begun to experience the suggestions that I gave to her. For example, I knew there was resistance. I knew there was going to be some doubt, to say the least. The post-hypnotic suggestion I gave to her was that her dreaming was going to become more colorful and prolific in the next 2-3 days. I did this for two reasons. One, it's healthy. And two, because I knew she was going to have doubts, and I wanted her to remember this. And when I brought it up to her, she'd say, you're right, I do. Like, my dreams have been very, very active and colorful lately. I'm like, yeah, because I'm setting it up. I want her to believe in and have confidence and benefit from the process. So the induction is just that. It is to cause the conscious mind to go more dormant and to refine and sharpen the subconscious mind, to create a state of suggestibility. And the process, again, is just that. It's an induction process, and it's different for everybody to some extent.
So now applying this hypnotherapy, how can you use that with regression, both in this life and past life?
Yeah. Once again, we have the regression workshop coming up. The one that we did, you were able to attend part of that. You had to check out early. It was just phenomenal, and that's going to be posted. Regression is a very powerful tool. I like past life regression. I have had past life regression myself spontaneously when I didn't even believe in reincarnation when I was younger, and it started happening to me. I was like, whoa, that's a trip. Like, I didn't even believe these things. So the bottom line is that It's a reliable process therapeutically. Whether you accept reincarnation or not, I don't know why I'm air quoting, but I am. So whether you accept reincarnation as a feature of existence or not, it's a very powerful and useful modality. Once again, there are things within our subconscious mind that don't have resolution, things we need closure with. Resentments, conflicts, tensions, fears, whatever it might be, that happen in our childhood that are repressed. And if all of our data of who we are is stored within our consciousness, within our layers of consciousness, then if we have lived before, then those would be there too. They don't go away. So we have this Akashic record database of all of our memories that are there. What's going to surface in regression is the ones that need addressed. How does it know? Why? Well, why wouldn't it? Why would it? So people that have regression, they don't have memories of birthday parties and just quick, easy, little pleasant things, or past life where they were rich and famous and had a great life. Those need closure. Those are fine. Those are fine the way they are. What surfaces is memories that need attention. And it's a magical process. It's wonderful. It can be very sharp and painful, can be difficult, but it needs to be done. What surfaces are things that need attention. And it's a wonderful process to be involved with. Done improperly, it can re-traumatize from a past life or anything else. Done properly, I guide people through this, and I also know when to stop, when to pull them out of a past life experience or memory that they're having, or prior in this life, so they don't re-traumatize. So bottom line is that it is a terrific modality, and whether you're mystical or spiritual or not, which two people that came to the regression workshop that Saturday are not, they didn't want nothing. She's the one that said, I want nothing to do with that. I'm there for the clinical thing. And she came and had a terrific experience with it, because she saw, as I had said to her, that you're going to get something out of it. So where and what it is and how, I don't really care. When I was in the hospital and they started telling me what put me there, when I came out of my coma, you were hit by a car and blah, 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 and all this. And I'm like, can you tell me how to get out of here? I don't really give a shit how I got here. I want to know what to do about it. There's 10 seconds of my life I'm never going to get back. I got to get out of here. I came out of a coma. So what can we do and how can we use it? Many people come to me for past life regression, and typically I require them to tell me what their intention is. Why do they want to use it? And if they want it for entertainment, I discourage that. I sometimes kind of bisect that and move away from it. If they want to resolve something and they don't quite know what it is, they want to find some resolution, some conflict, something that's bothering them, they don't quite know what it is, then that's a good intention. And I think it's a very powerful use for that.
Is hypnotherapy needed for past life regression?
Excellent question. No. My past life regressions were never started by hypnotherapy. And many people have them without it. It allows us more direct access and to cause it deliberately and to have more direction. So I can activate someone's regression with hypnotherapy more easily. Rather than, I can, as a mystic myself, I can do that in a lot of ways. But hypnotherapy is a little more official and a little bit more agreeable. I would never cause regression to anybody without their permission. So it makes it a little bit more formalized. So it's not required, but it definitely enhances it, accelerates it, and makes it more deliberate. It's why not use it? It'd be foolish not to. It's cleaner, it's easier, it's more powerful.
Okay. Well, we're wrapping up here with, you did talk about induction, but with being auto hypnosis induction. But what about some self-hypnosis induction?
Well, I kind of put that in the topic list because I was hoping, and we did do in the live workshop, we did do kind of a mass hypnosis. I walked people through an induction. Now, again, I'm a hypnotherapist, not a hypnotist. I'm not there for entertainment. So I'm not doing a mass general hypnosis for a group of people. That's not what I do. I work with people individually. So I gave them a sample of what an induction looked like and felt like so they could kind of get an instance of it. But I wasn't trying to cause a deep set suggestibility with anybody, although it could happen. So that was included in there because in the live in the live workshop, if there was time, I wanted to sample what an induction was like. And we're going to do that here on the video. So that's kind of what that was in there for. So yeah, if you go to our website, life-mind.com, and go to the hypnotherapy tab, there is a self-hypnosis and auto-hypnosis sampling that you can do there for free. I stand by my work. And rather than even though I'm giving it away, it's because I think when people see it and experience it, they'll be like, wow, this guy knows his shit. And if I want more, that's the guy I'm going to talk to. So I think it was a smarter business plan, business-wise, to give that away so people can see and experience it. I'm the same way. People talk about it, and I'm like, where's the proof in the pudding, man? I mean, unless you can show me, everybody's selling something. I'm not taking your word for it. So I want people to experience it.
So lastly, you mentioned a little bit about the history of hypnosis. What are the difference between Ericksonian and Kappasinian hypnosis, and the differences in those things?
Yeah, we did talk about Erickson and how Kappas took it even further. They're both brilliant. Personally, what Kappas was mind-blowingly brilliant. EMP, emotional and physical, inferential literal, broke it all down. And then, of course, as I'm studying Kappas, who learned from who is influenced by Milton Erickson, I'm seeing how to do even more than that. Kappas himself was a very high emotional personality. I mean, like really high. He was married to Florence Henderson from the Brady Bunch. This is all kind of covered as a fun way in the EMP episodes that we did. And because he's such a high emotional person, so introverted, that he's not very elaborate on a lot of things. He says a very kind of point blank kind of thing. He's a literal inferential. Emotional sexual, but a literal suggestible, and literal export and import. And I wasn't disappointed. I just saw through my practice of working with people that I needed more. I needed to elaborate more on what he was teaching. So I couldn't just give them the cut and dry stuff. And so that allowed me to develop even on a wider spectrum. So Sigmund Freud, back in the 30s, when he was asked about hypnotherapy, his response pretty much was like, well, that's crap. I don't believe in it. It's not useful. It's a load of crap. I know, as many other people know, that's because he was jealous of Milton Erickson. He could not do it. Milton Erickson was so good and so instantaneous with it, and Freud couldn't. And so he was very jealous. Freud had his faults. Grandfather psychology and all that, but he's had his faults. And so I love that part of the history. Meanwhile, another anecdote that we won't go into. Freud's cousin was in America, and the whole American breakfast of eggs and bacon, which, let's face it, is a horrible thing to eat for breakfast in the morning. Eggs and bacon, are you kidding me? That was started by his cousin as a marketing campaign to simply move inventory of eggs and bacon products. He created that whole notion. That whole American breakfast that you get at Denny's and all that now is part of our natural mentality. He invented that as a marketing campaign. That's suggestibility at work.
Yeah.
That was
is.
far more Kappasinian than Freudian, that's for sure. I mean, far more Ericksonian than Freudian.
Well, thank you. Thanks for breaking all these things down and explaining them all.
Thanks for asking such great questions.
Sure.
We're laughing, of course, because these questions were part of the workshop that we did. So we're just we're using the same stuff.
Yeah. Well, it helps to break it all down clearly.
Yeah, I will say as we wrap up here, naturally I got to push that little thing is that I'm a professional. I'm certified. A sliding scale. Some insurance can be accepted. if you want experience and free consultations, seriously, the guy that I saw the other day, to solve his fear of heights and fear of getting on a plane. He couldn't get on a plane. He had a panic attack last time. He had to cancel his flight, walk away. Lost his ticket, lost his money, all that. Couldn't go. That's going to be solvable. I'm telling for it. I can guarantee it's going to be solved. And he began after the workshop by contacting me the next day and saying, I'd like that free consultation you offer. And we spent about 34 minutes on a video chat like this. Well, I don't look at the clock. It's whatever time I need to get to know him. And then we went into a session. Then he came in person. So that's an opportunity as well. I encourage everyone, vet me out. You want to see what I can do, what we can do, see if we can address things for you, let me know. Get the free consult. Get on the website and plug it in, and I'll meet with you and we'll talk about it. Yeah.
Sounds good.
That should wrap it up, huh?
Yeah.
Well, then I'm going to wrap it up by reminding that you can change your mind, you can change your life. If change were as simple as make up our minds, we'd all be perfect, and we're not. Get some assistance. Why not pull in the big guns? Why not use hypnotherapy if it's available? It can't hurt you. No downside. Can't hurt you. Can probably enhance and empower you to do things you couldn't do before. Again, it's not going to solve it. You still got to run the marathon. You got to put the shoes on. But it's going to make you be able to do things you couldn't do before, because it's going to make your subconscious mind aware and familiarized with things you couldn't do before. Accept them. To change your mind and change your life. There you go. My little catch motto. That sounds very commercialized, and there you go.
Thanks for listening.
Keep prying open your third eye and come on back. We got lots of knowledge and lots of wisdom, and try to have a sense of humor with it too. Mention this podcast episode. Enjoy a free session to discuss what you would like to change and improve. I'll give you invaluable insights on what methods and approaches you can consider to change your mind and change your life. Jump over to life-mind.com and set it up. That's life-mind.com. Until next time, leave your third eye open. Full episodes, services, knowledge, and all you'll ever need on scottspacky.com and life-mind.com.
Ocean collides